Discovered a mistake on your marriage adjustment application? Although some mistakes are material and some are not, it's important to properly correct whatever needs to be corrected as soon as possible to avoid any potential delays. In this video, we'll cover exactly how to do that. We've helped so many couples navigate this journey effectively by avoiding issues just like this. Just like this couple who got their green card with no delays in only 164 days. If you're struggling to find the right solution for your marriage green card needs, you can speak to us directly by using the link in the description below. Now, let's talk about the different types of mistakes that can happen. First, it can be a simple typographic mistake. These happen all the time. For instance, you receive your receipt notice and your name, date of birth, or sex is incorrect. What do you do from there? You can submit a service request through the USCIS website, and that should do it. We've included the link for this for you in the description below. Now, you want to get this done as soon as you receive your receipt notices, since it can be such a headache if the USCIS, for instance, issues your work permit with this mistake. Even your social security number might have the typo as well, and it all takes a lot of time to fix. Be sure to go over your receipt notices as soon as you receive them to ensure everything looks good there. And one last comment regarding this, correcting a typographic error with the USCIS can take some time. It can also require a few tries and a lot of patience on your end. Sometimes you need to be persistent and keep bugging them until they do their job. Just saying. Okay, but what if you made a mistake and now that you've discovered it, how do you go about correcting it? There are a couple of ways. First, you can actually wait for a request for evidence or even a notice of intent to deny and address the mistake there. Second, it's more rare these days, but interviews are also a great way to address any issues in your application as well. Even if the interviewing officer isn't asking you about that specific thing, you would want to bring their attention to the mistake so they can correct it on their end. Another thing to consider here is that some errors are material and some are not. For instance, the 5 years of address and employment history. Of course, it's unlikely that you will remember the exact dates if you moved 7 times in the last 5 years, so it's okay to provide approximate dates. This doesn't have anything to do with your eligibility to receive a green card, and those errors are not material. But not listing your employment inside the US because you worked without authorization, for instance, that's material. So as for getting to mention that you've been married before or you have children or any prior criminal history. Obviously, this is something that needs to be addressed since misrepresenting anything to a US immigration officer can have extreme consequences, including permanent inadmissibility, deportability, and not being allowed to apply for US citizenship. But the reason why this can be tricky is because it's sometimes hard to understand what certain form questions are asking for. For instance, Form I-45 yes or no questions. Have you ever been arrested, cited, charged, or detained for any reason by any law enforcement official? A traffic ticket would generally fall under citation, and we tend to disclose traffic tickets here since we had immigration officers correct us in the past when we answered no. Then again, other immigration officers disagreed with this interpretation. If you aren't sure if something needs to be disclosed, it's an obvious sign that you need to speak to an immigration attorney to ensure you're handling everything properly. Look, if you made a mistake and incorrectly answered one of these yes or no questions, you, or better yet, your attorney, can actually send a letter to the USCIS office that is processing your case. Plus, you could also upload it inside your USCIS online account, explaining the mistake and how it should be corrected. Now, the biggest takeaway here is lying and forgery are huge issues, and that will make your immigration experience significantly more complex. Misunderstanding certain questions about past run-ins with the police can also derail your immigration process. Going back to that arrested or charged question, it clearly asks whether you've ever been charged with a crime. Those who have been charged but not convicted often answer no, believing the two terms are interchangeable. In reality, you'd need to answer yes, even if you were acquitted or the charges were dismissed. Very counterintuitive, but it can sink your application, and that's all the USCIS is looking for. USCIS officials are highly suspicious of oversights, even if you made innocent and honest mistakes. They will almost always accuse you of lying, even if you did not try to misrepresent yourself. Now, on the other hand, if it's something small, it might not even need correction. But if it does, you can either correct it at the interview or by sending a letter to the USCIS. Do you have any questions about your specific situation? Drop them in the comments. Otherwise, like this video and we'll see you next time.